So the new jobs report, unemployment jobs report, has now officially been released, and it was noted that both the unemployment rate and the inflation rate has now officially gone downwards, which means that we are showing signs of improvement. Now, with that being said is that the inflation on the inflation side situation is still relatively high compared to the goal or the target of where they want it to be, but it is definitely showing signs of improvement there, but it doesn't tell the full story. There are some people that are saying that these numbers might be a little bit misleading. I personally don't necessarily think these numbers are misleading, but I do, however, believe that the numbers are not telling the whole big picture and the big story, because there is some, I don't want to say manipulation, but there's just some things in the numbers that they can kind of twist and turn to kind of count. If it sounds a little bit confusing, it's hopefully gonna make a lot more sense, because in today's video, what I really want to talk about is basically sharing the new unemployment information. I want to talk about what the job market is looking like. I want to talk a little bit about the recession, and I want to talk probably most of all is what this actually means for us. So if you are someone that's either unemployed right now and you're looking for a job, or you're looking to change your job, or you're interested in just understanding what's going on in your economy right now, then welcome aboard, because this is the video for you. So with that being said, let's just get this video started right on the spot. But as always, if you guys enjoy videos like this, remember to smash the like button, leave a comment if you guys want to, subscribe and hit the bell, and let's get this video rolling. So we're going to start by sharing some information about the unemployment jobs report. We're going to explain what this actually means for us, and then we're going to go into all the other details that are important to know. So to start maybe is that the new jobs report that recently came out, it was noted that the unemployment situation, that specifically about 239,000 people filed for unemployment last week, while about 236,000 jobs were added last month. So there were actually more people losing work as they are creating jobs. So in other words, what this basically means is that people are losing their jobs and they're going back to work, but it also means that they're not making as many jobs, or that not as many jobs are being added to the market to account for the people that are losing their jobs right now. However, people are also returning to a lot of the existing jobs as well, like just mentioned, which is also explaining why the unemployment rate have actually fallen, even if it's only slightly. So in other words, what this really means is that the unemployment rate is still going down, or is not still going, but it is going down, and the reason that it's going down is just because people are returning to work. That's really the biggest reasoning why, to account for these numbers. Now, in terms of what is the significance about this is that this is actually relatively great and not so great news. And the reason why is that because the economy works in a very, very strange way, where a lot of times it's a little bit like a zero sum, and I say this is not because it always is necessarily this way, but more in the sense that because as one area of the economy improves, there are often many cases, not always again, but many cases, where as one area of the economy improves, another area of the economy actually takes a massive dip. And this is why this is the story about what's going on right now, is that because we are in a situation where, because the unemployment situation is getting better, it means that people are returning back to work. The good news is obviously that people are going back to work, but the not so good news is that because at the end of the day, what this also means is that they're promoting more economic activity that's going on. This in turn also means that it's going to make the inflation situation worse on a longer term basis. So why this is related, and that's why I say it's a very gray area, it's a very complicated area to really talk about, is that because as the unemployment rate goes down, it means that people are working more, so it means that the output, so the economic activity, is increasing as well. But it also means that as the economy increases, it also means that the prices of things are also going up, and in many cases they're not keeping up with each other. So that is the reason why this might also not be the best good news either as well, in the sense that because it also means that the inflation situation is actually getting a little bit worse now. Not in that situation, in the sense that it's getting better, but it's not getting as better as they want it to be, if that hopefully makes a little bit more sense. And in terms of very, very specific numbers, it's really that because the unemployment rate right now stands at 3.5%, which means, again, people are staying and being employed. But the real goal is that they actually really want to try to make unemployment to hit around 4.5%. So hopefully this kind of clarifies it. And again, explaining hopefully also why. It might sound like a little bit of a gray area, but why they actually deep down inside want to increase the unemployment rate, because it's going to also help to slow down inflation. So in other words, it's a very complicated topic, again, just like mentioned, even though we've mentioned it so many times already. It's just because as one area improves, another area is going to dip. And so someone has to eventually take the hit, and they want to make it so that the American people are taking, as sad as it is to say, they want to make it so that the American people are going to take the hit. But right now at this time, it's not that. It's actually the economy as a whole in a big picture because of the inflation situation. Now, another interesting thing to maybe share is about the jobs report that they found is that it was also noted that because although it is true that the unemployment rate did go down, is that this is not actually, and this applies to every number that we've shared in this video so far, is that it's very, very sector and industry also very specific. Because the reason is that not every industry all of these numbers will apply to. These numbers that we share, they're talking about the economy as a big picture. However, just because one industry is struggling does not necessarily mean all of the industries are struggling per se. So if you want like a specific actual breakdown, is that the tech industry, for example, is noted that many people are getting laid off. So the tech industry is one area where unemployment is actually going up because of that reason. However, if you're moving on to another industry such as like the hospitality industry, for example, the hospitality industry, they're actually creating more jobs where unemployment over there is actually now going down. So hopefully this kind of explains a little bit about why, or it's just a little bit more in depth to the significance of these numbers, that because it can be a little bit misleading, or just simply put, just doesn't always tell the big picture, because it's also very, very sector and industry specific to what industry you work in, where these numbers will hopefully just display what they mean. And the specific number I believe that they noted was that there were specifically about 10 million, 9.9/10 million job openings currently right now around our country. Now, in terms of what our analysts are actually saying, or a lot of the professionals right now in media, is that there's actually a very, very wide spectrum of beliefs right now, especially about whether or not we're going to be falling into a recession. I think that the general consensus is that most people really do believe that we are going to be entering into a recession. However, the biggest question mark is that we just don't know when. There are some people that believe it's going to happen before this year ends, and there's a lot of other people that believe that it actually might come, but it's not going to come until next year in 2024. And this is very, very important because between when we are, right now in our present day time period to when that recession comes, if the recession even comes, it's very probable that there's going to be a lot of different events happening in between. If you follow the stock market, that's definitely going to be very, very impactful, especially if you happen to be an options trader, because options, long story short, if you don't know what that is, it's just a way to buy contracts inside of the stock market. But contracts in the stock market are very, very time sensitive. It's a little bit more complicated. We'll talk about that another day. But all you really have to know is that the big idea is that there's just so many things that can happen between today and when that recession comes, if the recession does come, that it's leading to many, many moments of uncertainty right now. The big idea, I think, is that over 50% of the people do predict that a recession is going to come before the end of this year, which by definition is 2 negative quarters of GDP, or 2 or more, quarters of negative GDP. And so that's really the story and situation of where we stand right now in terms of unemployment, in terms of the job market, and then in terms of the recession. Now, what should we actually do from here? I think the big idea is that if you're someone that's currently employed, and we've mentioned this before, but it's just so important to kind of put it out there, is to really just try your best to protect your job, because a lot of people right now are losing their jobs, and it's really important to be defensive at times like these. If you are someone that's not currently employed, then to just understand is that there are still millions of people that are with you, and it's a very complicated job market right now to really be able to navigate. navigate. And if you're someone that's thinking about changing your job, then it might just be one of those things to just kind of reconsider, but not necessarily throw it out of the window, because this one is also, again, going to be a lot more dependent on the industry you work in and the job market within the industry that you work in. But hopefully this kind of gives a little bit of guidance to what is probably the best move depending on where you currently stand in your employment journey right now at this time. So with that being said, that's what I pretty much wanted to share in today's update. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys made it to the end, maybe remember to smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you're in the northeastern region, enjoy the warmer weather and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.